Okay, welcome to Sabon multiple choice 50 question trivia time. Here we will have general knowledge, the arts, history, sports, and foods. Let's start with some general knowledge. What modern day item was created anonymously under the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto? That would be Bitcoin. What is the missing lyric? You got the kind of loving that can be so blank, yeah. Give me your heart, make it real, or else forget about it. Would that be cool, neat, great, or smooth? That would be smooth. Deglutition is the scientific term for what common bodily function that humans do hundreds of times a day. Is that blink, swallow, yawn, or sniff? That would be swallow. Which Chicago-based improv theater group served as a springboard for Steve Carell, Tina Fey, John Candy, and more? Groundlings, Bad Dog, Second City, or the Comedy Bar? That would be Second City. What type of animal, according to urban legend, caused the Great Chicago Fire of 1871 by knocking over a lantern? That'd be a cow, a horse, a sheep, or a dog. That would be a cow. Which popular tourist destination was once called the Island of Swine? Let me get some extra time here. Jamaica, Newfoundland, Cuba, or Bora Bora? That would be Cuba. What was the first country to give women the right to vote? Australia, New Zealand, Canada, or the States? If you guessed New Zealand, you were right. How many bones are there in the human skeleton? 443, 312, 106, or 206? That would be 206. How many keys are there on a standard piano? Would that be 88, 86, 312, or 367? That would be 88. What year did America declare its independence from England? 1802, 1776, 1812, or 1779? That would be 1776. Now, feel free to pause this video. I know 10 seconds isn't a lot of time. And next we are on to the arts. What search engine makes changes to its logo known as Doodles to celebrate holidays? I'll do another 10 seconds here. Yahoo, Bing, Google, or AOL? And bonus points if you know what AOL stands for. That would be Google. On Becoming a God in Central Florida was a Showtime series that lasted just one season, starring which Spider-Man actress? Beth Ditto, Julie Benz, Usman Ali, or Kirsten Dunst? As a Kirsten myself, it's Kirsten Dunst. Who is considered the first great American landscape painter? Edgar Payne, Thomas Cole, Claude Monet, or Vincent van Gogh? That will be Thomas Cole. Which 20th century Mexican artist battled polio as a child but still painted her pain into power? Would that be Frida Kahlo, Pablo Picasso, Diego Rivera, or Leonora Carrington? That would be Frida Kahlo. Which artist famously said, "In the future, everyone will be world famous for 15 minutes"? Rembrandt, Michelangelo, Andy Warhol, or Banksy? That would be Warhol. The Italian word piano translates into which English word? Would it be allegro, dynamic, forte, or soft? That would be soft. The fourth Ninja Turtle, all named after famous artists, would be Michelangelo, Leonardo, Donatello, and Baglioni, Raphael, Botticelli, or Ghiberti. That would be Raphael. The English horn is a woodwind. The French horn is part of which instrument group? Woodwind, string, brass, or percussion? That would be brass. Which Victorian poet wrote, "How do I lovely thee, let me count the ways"? Elizabeth Browning, Matthew Arnold, Oscar Wilde, or Rudyard Kipling? That'd be Elizabeth Browning. Which writer was famous for writing Breakfast at Tiffany's and In Cold Blood? Ernest Hemingway, George Orwell, Truman Capote, or Agatha Christie? That would be Truman Capote. What type of dance form is this? Would that be river dance, Highland dancing, Irish dancing, or Scottish country dancing? This is a tough one. The answer is Highland dancing. Okay, now we're on to history. In what country was Adolf Hitler born? Hungary, Poland, Austria, or Germany? That would be Austria. Which ship brought the Pilgrims to America in 1620? Would that be the Mayflower, the Fortune, the Speedwell, or the Hansa? That would be the Mayflower. Who developed relativity? Would that be Niels Bohr, Albert Einstein, Max Born, or Paul Dirac? That would be Einstein. Who guided Lewis and Clark? Pocahontas, Hidatsa, Otter Woman, or Sacagawea? That'd be Sacagawea. These ships became stranded on ice in 1848 near what is today known as Nunavut. Would that be New Jersey and Missouri, Erebus and Terror, Huronia and Carmania, or Olympic and Britannic? How many dogs survived the sinking of the ill-fated RMS Titanic? 4, 12, 3, or 0? That would be 3. Speaking of the Titanic, what did Charles Jochen, Chief RMS Titanic Baker, toss into lifeboats as the ship was sinking? Would that be cakes, bread, floating chairs, or rum? That would be bread. Which amendment abolished slavery? That be the 68th, the 41st, the 13th, or the 12th? The 13th. Which volcano buried the cities of Pompeii and Herculaneum? Krakatoa, Mount Vesuvius, Mount Tambora, or Mount Thera? That would be Vesuvius. What year did Anne Frank's family go into hiding? Would that be 38, 1945, 1942, or 1940? (1942). What information was recorded in the Domesday Book? Birthdays, property ownership, birthstones, or family history? That would be property ownership. Okay, now we're on to sports. What is a score of 0 called in tennis? Would that be 0, tie, nothing, or love? Okay, that would be love. What is the nickname of the college basketball playoff tournament? Is that February Fury, March Madness, Jamming July, or September Showdown? That would be March Madness. What body part can't touch the ball in soccer unless you're the goalie? Is that hands, elbow, shoulder, or knee? The answer here, hands. How many holes do you play in the average round of golf? Would that be 9, 18, 27, or 15? That would be 18. Which sport is played with a shuttlecock? Tennis, ping pong, curling, or badminton? That would be badminton. Which two sports have been played on the surface of the moon? Was it baseball and golf, sprinting and high jump, golf and javelin, or soccer and baseball? That would be, if you guessed, golf and javelin. Which country has won the most FIFA World Cup titles? Would that be the States, Brazil, Portugal, or Mexico? That is Brazil. What year was the first NBA game played? 27, 51, 39, or 46? That would be 1946. During which inning is Take Me Out to the Ball Game usually sung? Would that be the seventh, the first, the fifth, or the sixth? That would be the seventh. What is the maximum number of points you can score in a game of bowling? 279, 341, 300, or 266? That would be 300. Okay, our last section, foods. What condiment was used for medicinal qualities in the 1800s? Was it ketchup, mustard, hot sauce, or relish? If you guessed ketchup, you were right. What is mascarpone? Is that an arancini? Is it a burrata? Is it a gelato? Or is it a type of cream cheese? That would be a type of Italian cream cheese. True or false? Salted water will boil faster than unsalted water. True or false? The answer is false. What is the main ingredient in gummy bears? Is that sugar, gelatin, food coloring, or water? That would be gelatin. What is the primary ingredient of the Middle Eastern dish falafel? Tabbouleh, tzatziki, chickpeas, or shawarma? That is chickpeas. What is this? Is it ground beef? Is it haggis? Is it Scotch pie? Or is it black pudding? The quick one, that is haggis. What is the most stolen grocery item? Is it cheese, meat, milk, or cereal? That would be cheese. Which fast food chain as of 2025 has the most locations in the world? Would it be White Castle, KFC, In-N-Out, or McDonald's? The answer here is McDonald's. Second last question. Which fast food chain as of 2025? Okay, we just did this one. That's fine. Oops. Which franchise is credited for creating the very first drive-through window? Tina's Grill, McDonald's, In-N-Out, or Swiss Chalet? The answer here is In-N-Out. Thank you for watching again. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really, really helps.